Welcome to the Not Move Podcast NBA show, The Dribble. I'm the Dollface Gremlin, and my two friends joining me, as always, Big Bags from Baltimore and Tinez. How you guys doing today?
We're doing good, Grandma. How are you, man?
Doing great.
Well, always good back for the dribble.
Always glad to have you back. I know we missed you out on that last week with Joe's, but I'm glad we got the rotating cast that we do because with Tinez holding it down, I think we'll be able to bust out great shows every week, especially now that Bag is going to be here more often. We're going to be continuing this run. Guys, let's jump into it. Tinez, I know you want to get on top of the topics today of the return of Kate Cunningham.
Yeah, I mean, around April, so around April 8th against the Bucks, he actually just pulled a double double, which I think is very impressive. I think right now, especially with Cade coming back, I think it's gonna really change a lot of things. Hopefully, especially if he keeps this performance like he has been doing consistently. But honestly, if anything, I'm just really grateful for how he has been as far as this adversity, really coming back and still willing to put on performances like that. We don't see a lot of players that deal with injuries like that and then actually have become better from it.
No, I agree. Bag, you got to watch a little bit of Cade's return. What did you think of his first game back?
Overall, yeah, I was pretty impressed. Like Tinez said, you come, especially from a collapsed lung. That's a very serious potential injury. Not only for your career but life threatening. It could really do some damage. So for him to come out and not press the issue, right? Because most guys, when they come back, they want to get back to right where they picked up, where they left off. He was in MVP contention. So,
Right.
uh, you know, uh, coming back and wanting to get these last couple games under your belt and to try to squeeze back in at the last end of the season for that award, most guys would try to, put the pedal to the floor and do that. I'm glad he didn't. He stayed poised. He didn't rush or overexert himself. He played smart. He used his teammates, and his playmaking ability. I think he had what, 12 assists that game?
Hmm.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Got a dozen assists, bro. 10, 12 points as well. Yeah, I mean, solid defense. I was really impressed.
Yeah, and slight he had 10 assists in that game, but still double double like you said, Bag. And he was doing it off of 54% shooting overall, off of 11 field goal attempts, 6 for 11, 25 minutes played too. So, it's not like he came in, played limited minutes. He was definitely working it out. Um
What
now
was the
with the
points?
he did have 13 points. You are correct
Okay,
on
that's
that.
I had it
Yeah.
backwards. Okay,
Okay.
okay, got
I
you.
know
Yeah.
everything was between 10 to 13. That's what I was like.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and he did bring down 5 rebounds too. So that's nothing to be slouched at, especially given the position he plays. So I'm excited for Cade. I do want to see him come back and play, but I think too, what the biggest thing was Jalen Duren didn't take a step back that game with Cade's return, and that's what they need.
Facts. And is it JB Bickerstaff is the coach, right? Yeah. He you could see that he was so happy. He got his guy back, you know what I mean? He could put his regular rotation in, and like you said, he didn't have to step back and play limited minutes. And like I said, he didn't overexert himself and push it at the same time. He was able to stay on the floor, be a general of his team, and help those guys out. So
And I
And
think that's exactly what they need, especially for guys like him and even Asher Thompson. Is that his name, right? The other
Asar,
guard that's
yeah, Asar Thompson.
Asar. I keep forgetting his first. I pronounce his first name, but Asar Thompson. I feel like him too. I feel like is another great piece. There really needs a guy like Cade there, especially considering how he's really just a really good all-around player. And I think especially with his role too. Yeah, I don't. Mm, they might make it out the East. I'm not gonna lie. If they keep it up the way they are, because they're a good group and they're young too.
Yeah, and I tell you what, too, the person who is surprising me at the end of this season run is Duncan Robinson starting to light up a little bit. He's been getting slowly better for this team, probably because of his limited use, and he realizes that, they have a bench full of people who can elevate if he's not playing so well. But Duncan Robinson also had 20 points in that game in Cade's return. So I think Pistons, they've locked off that number one seed. It's all about who they're going to play in the bottom. And we'll see who wraps up after the play-in tournament at 7 and 8. Um, is there anything else you want to say about the Pistons there, Bag or Tinez?
Yeah, I mean, Duncan Robinson, about time. About time. Like, when I'm not a stickler for guys, and I don't like counting guys' pockets, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, they're professional athletes. What they make is pronounced to the public when they sign their deals. When he got that deal, like, you're supposed to be a formidable guy on your team when you're making that kind of money. And the fact that you are a shooter, that is your job, and you can't do that on a like high efficiency clip on a nightly basis is a problem because your defense is nowhere that exists. And me and you've had this conversation, Gremlin, because we're in the older, generation and crew. We value defense. Basketball is played on both sides of the floor. You can't just be this great offensive player and that makes you better than another guy that puts up almost the same amount offensive production, but is a top 10 or top 12 defender at his position. It's not the same.
No, it is not the same. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've liked Duran's play since Cade was out is not only was he increasing the offensive production, but I thought he was locking it down better on the defensive end, like you're talking about, Bag. I think Duran is kind of showing that, hey guys, I might be more than just a number two for this team. That's my opinion on him, given the way he's stepped up this year. Um, Dean, has anything else you want to talk about the Pistons before we go to our next topic?
No, sir.
How do you
All
feel
good.
if your Cavaliers end up playing the Pistons in the playoffs?
I mean, honestly, it was what was expected. I honestly thought it was going to be between us or honestly Toronto. Which I mean, I think we are right now facing still Toronto in the first round, right?
As of right now, yeah, the 4 or 5 seed, you have home court advantage. It looks like that's the way it's going to stay. It's pretty much the top two are locked in. It looks like there's 2 games left, basically almost for everybody.
Mm.
But Pistons and Celtics are pretty much locked in, and it's you and the Knicks could swap places, but it's looking like
See,
you
that's
guys are
what
going to
I
be
thought
sitting at the
was
4
gonna
seed.
happen. That's what I really thought was gonna happen. Because honestly, I thought what I thought was gonna happen was I thought the Pistons were gonna drop considering the loss of Cade Cunningham. But wrong.
Well,
Happens. It
I think
happens.
I think the Knicks might be in for a little more of a battle with the Hawks than Knicks fans expect, but we can have that conversation when our boy Bando comes back on. Um, now, I know Tinez that we had some injury issues coming up for the 76ers, the same name that we always see coming up, Mr. Embiid there. He seems to be going in and out of the lineup a little bit more lately. What are you thinking on Joel Embiid heading into the playoffs?
I mean, it's not looking good for him. I mean, I don't know if you guys really know, but right now he's already getting another surgery.
Yep.
Um, I don't know how you pronounce the word, but what is it called again? Appendicus?
Appendicitis, appendix,
Appendix.
yeah, appendicitis or something like that.
Yeah, I know how you pronounce the word, but I'm just like at this point, I don't really know what to really think of Joel Embiid because I've said it once, I say it again. We see this guy get about less than a 60% game sample size every year, and we expect him to be a elite and great player. Skillfully wise, yes, but career wise, um, yeah, that's just how
I
I feel right now.
Bag, I'm sure you're with me. I struggle with Joel. Like I love what I see when he does play, but availability is the best ability, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not surprised, and I hate to say it, like you got to remember he was drafted in 2014, right? He didn't. hit the floor for the Philadelphia 76ers until what, 2016?
Right.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Like 16, 17.
yeah, the 16, 17. And I understand Philly fans why they're frustrated because I hear that the biggest Joel doubters and haters are actual Philly fans. And I understand why, right? Because your first 2, 3 years, injury, 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 stomach bug, stomach bug, stomach bug. They had a whole 6, 7 year stretch where, what was it? Just trust the process. Trust the process. Every year after year, you're getting a lottery pick, a top 3 pick. And once they drafted Markel Fultz after he forgot how to shoot, I'm sorry. I get the frustration as a Philadelphia 76er fan. To have all of that, then the other guy that was a cornerstone piece for your franchise refuses to shoot 3 pointers and has his little meltdown and his little spout. Oh yeah, I'm not surprised he's hurt again. I'm not surprised they'll probably get bounced out in the first round. It's just that's where they're at.
I mean, aren't they fighting for playing as we speak?
Yeah, so right now with the NBA standings, they are sitting right pretty at the number 7 or 8 position. So yeah, they'll
Oh
be
wow, so they
facing off.
dropped actually.
They'll be
They
facing
dropped.
off. They were at 1.4. I
Yeah,
know for
4-5.
sure.
Yeah,
Four or
they were
five they
right
were there.
behind. They were behind New York, right? New York was
At,
3.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I believe at that time too,
No way, we
uh
stayed at four.
this
I think they were at like 5 or 6. I think.
no,
yeah.
you
Matter of
guys.
fact, he's right. Cleveland was at 4 at one point.
Well, Cleveland also dropped down to 6 at 1 point, too, if we remember. Like when
That
they
is
had that
true.
little funk before James
Yeah,
Harden came over, they had that little
yeah.
funk
That
there.
was like
So
before the deadline. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, with Darius Garland.
yeah, and this is a freak injury, right? This is just appendicitis. How this is something weird, and but it seems like it's almost like he has this energy that attracts these weird injuries now, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like he's just cursed to be injured in his career.
I
So
mean,
Gilbert, oh, go ahead, Tina.
no, I was just gonna say at this point, if he knew all this stuff was going on, not saying that, him being injured is a good thing or bad thing or anything, but I'm just saying if you know all these things are going on with you, why didn't you just stay out in the first place? That's my only thing. Because there was a point, I don't know if you guys remember, like a little bit after the trade deadline, where you see him play for like 2 weeks, then he's out for like three. You see him play for another week, he's out for like two.
See,
What?
the Gilbert Arenas made a real good point about this whole Joel Embiid situation with the appendix. It's not like it's nothing you can prevent, right? This is just a body biology thing. But
Mhm.
it's they said that it does get enhanced because of the medication and the drugs that these players have to take when they're on their rehab. It backs you up. You get constipated. You know what I mean? And once that starts to happen, other body organs start to malfunction, right? Because they start to compensate, overwork, and you put so much stress on your organs that, yeah, these things tend to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. No doubt. And as of right now, it's looking like we have the 7-8 game between the Magic and Sixers and the 9-10 Hornets and Heat. And I tell you what, I don't think the Magic or the Sixers want to play the Hornets. With the way the Hornets are playing right now, I don't think either one of those teams really want to see them just because of the momentum that the Hornets have. But um, 76ers look like they might be in just the tiniest bit of trouble with this injury. Um, I know one thing that we are going to do here after we take this little break is we're going to go ahead, we're going to pause for the cause to get out some stuff on let you know about our awesome Not Move shows that we got. One that came on before us, Jimmy, the UFC show. Hope you all paid attention. He's
Yep.
always filling us in with some good odds and ends. So Jimmy's always got that stuff on lockdown. I hope everybody does. tune in, lock in, step in, because we're going to show you what other shows we got. Please stick with us through the break. We're going to be right back.
Number Friday nights, 9 Eastern. It's the Dribble NBA edition on the Not Move podcast. We break down the week, the trades, the highlights, everything around the league. Tap in, chop it up with us, and get the takes that move the game forward. Stay Not Moved.
If you're craving baseball talk that doesn't flinch, tap in with us Monday nights at 8 Eastern.
It's the Rusty Mitt MLB edition of the Not Move podcast. Breakdowns, debates, all the swings and misses without the fake fluff.
Join us live or catch the replay wherever you get your pods. Rusty Mitt, Not Moved. Stay Not Moved.
Tap into the Not Move podcast every Friday night at 8 Eastern.
We're bringing the scrap sheet, UFC edition.
Every jab, every takedown, every headline.
All the fights, all the drama, all the picks, right here.
Watch live on YouTube or listen anywhere you get your podcast. Hit follow, hit subscribe.
And stay not moved.
Tuesday nights just got louder. Ringside Rewind is live every week, 9 Eastern.
We're breaking down Raw, SmackDown, and everything leading into the weekend. If it happens between the ropes, we're talking about it.
Deep dives, hot takes, and a few surprise
And
replays.
a whole lot of arguing.
Yeah, but the good kind. Ringside
Every Thursday night, the Not Move podcast drops a new episode of
In the Wicked.
our deep dive on everything around the NHL.
We break down the plays, the trades, the stats, and the stories that matter.
Plus a few hot takes along the way.
Join us live at 8 p.m. Eastern or catch it on your favorite podcast app right after.
Same energy, same on.
The world's game has a new home. Tap into the Not Move podcast every Sunday night at 9 Eastern. It's the football edition, and I'm bringing you the L Uncle Max attack, everything World Cup, every angle, every goal. Breakdowns, laughs, and all the passion in the pitch. Stay locked, stay ready.
Morning bettors, welcome back to Angling the Odds on the Not Move podcast.
Every Monday and Friday, we tear into lines, probabilities, and hidden edges across the boards.
We run the numbers, chart the trends, and find value plays so you can tilt the odds your way.
Live at 10:30 Eastern. Mark it, lock it, and join the conversation.
Hey, everybody, thanks for checking in, staying in, checking out the Not Move podcast that we just showed you. Make sure you tune in. We got some more football coming up, which everybody is super excited for, given the draft here in Pittsburgh coming up in 2 weeks, which I will be at, and we'll have some other Not Move members there. So lock in, guys. We're going to get you some draft coverage. It's going to be awesome on site. So we are going to go into the awards now. We already basically have the nominees. So we'll just start with the top one at MVP, most valuable player. Of course, the nominees for this year that are given to us are SGA, Victor, or at least who we think is in the running, Jokic, Luka, and Jalen. I think we can count out the bottom two, and even Jokic. It's really down to SGA and Victor, is it not?
I believe so, honestly, especially with honestly, I want it to be Victor, but honestly, from the way it's skewed in the way it's going right now, I feel like it's going to be more Shea. I don't want it to be, because I felt like it would have been a little bit harder for Shea this year for him to get the back-to-back, and I feel like they should have given it to Wemby, especially with the hard effort he actually put off this season, especially from the season he had before. So I give him more props for that, I guess.
You guess you give him more props for playing much better defense?
I do. Well, no, just overall. Like, especially with after all the blood clot situations and everything, I just feel like Wemby, especially with the adversity that he gave, definitely took a very big step. Not just for himself, but the whole team around San Antonio.
How you feeling, Bags? Is SGA going to walk his way to another NBA MVP award for 2 years in a row?
I believe so. Last year, I think it was less deserving so than this year, because defensively he wasn't as good as he was this year. But this year, 100%. Last I checked, when I did it last week, the rankings for Wemby and SGA. SGA was either first or second.
Yep.
In scoring. Yeah, he's leading the league, right? Yeah, he's still first.
Yeah, he was first or second in scoring from what I saw overall points.
Right, and then he was top 10 or 10, he was, I think, sixth at his position defense at the point guard position. He's tremendously stepped up his on-ball defense. I really care about on-ball more than help, you know what I mean, and the passing lane. I'm talking about you staying in front of your man, locking your man up, and making his efficiency go down on a night-to-night basis is the best I have ever seen SGA, and he did majority of it in this season, being the better defender in the backcourt because Jalen is Jay Will is the better defender out of the two. And we always said, well, he just relies on the team defense. He's got a great elite on-ball defender next to him. But that wasn't the case this year. And he still kept up the scoring. So I'm going to give my, tip my cap to SGA. He deserves this back-to-back.
Yeah, I think SGA has improved as a defender this year, again, like you saying. And also, technically they count a lot of his stats too, as well as a two guard, right? Even though he has the primary ball handler. Just what he's doing this year, offensively and defensively, does deserve an MVP in my eyes. I don't think there's any way you can, we always say this when we break down players on our lives on Not Moved. It's like choosing between two diamonds when you're choosing between Victor Wembanyama and SGA, right? I mean, Tinez, I think you and I have talked. I think you and I want Wemby to win just because we love what he's done.
I think that's just kind of how it is right now. I honestly think so because especially with Wemby, I mean, he's probably the best defender in the entire league right now. But I'm not gonna say he's the best offensive player though at the same time. Shea, for his position, is probably one of the best defensive guards.
Well, yeah,
and Wemby, he's also the best scorer.
Yeah, and I mean, Wemby isn't the best offensive scorer at his position, but, we could easily say that's Jokic, right?
Yeah.
Since Jokic is the center, we can say that.
We can definitely say he's top three, though, for sure. I would say Wemby's top three.
Right.
Maybe
but
two.
where Jokic has his nice, kind of hollow rebounding stats that count towards his defensive efficiency, we really know that Victor Wembanyama's defense makes up for any offensive deficiencies, right?
That's true. Very
true. Now, what is the realism of anybody else winning this award or getting any first place votes? I feel like it's really going to be split between these two guys and probably go in Shea's favor in like a 60-40 range of first place votes.
I have a feeling a few of the voters might dibble and dabble with Jokic getting one here and there. But Luka and Jaylen Brown, nah, they, like you said in the beginning, the 4 and 5, you guys are done. You missed out. Because he has the cachet and the reputation, and he's a former MVP himself, and what he's done this last month, Joker has been balling, right? And I think it was a tad too late. Plus, like we said, defensively, Wemby has him clear at every avenue on the defensive side. And because of that, the little minute offensive ability that Joker has to over Wemby, that's not enough. You know what I mean? It's just Joker, like I said, he had a stretch, I think I want to say probably from mid-December to late January, right before the All-Star break or like a month before All-Star break, and he just wasn't the regular Joker, and that kind of took him out of it for me.
Yeah, I don't want to be a stat merchant, but one stat that I think stands out to me when you look at Jokic and Wemby, besides the points that Jokic has, it's not far off. He's only averaging like 3 more points than Wemby a game, and the total rebounds he's only averaging like 1.5 maybe. The blocks from Wemby at 3.1 a game, that is insane to me, as well as 1 steal. Now, Joker has 1 steal a game too, but Wemby's also better with the turnovers. He doesn't turn the ball over as much as Joker. That's one thing that has completely jumped out to me when you watch both of them. He's a lot more careful with the ball.
What's Joker's block per game? I don't even think he's at 1. Is he? He's like 0.8?
Yeah, He's at point 0.8 right now. The only thing that really got Joker for any defensive metrics is his total rebounds and defensive rebounds, because he's averaging that triple double right now with the 10.9 assists and the 12 total rebounds, 10 of those being defensive.
Right. Okay.
So now, Tinez, did you really think that Luka might have had a shot if he wouldn't have finished the season being hurt?
I mean, it's that, and also I feel like if he would have did the performance like he did at the end of the season, way before in the beginning, and kept the consistency, I feel like he definitely would have sat in that top 3. He definitely would have had a very big good chance for sure. But not everything goes in everyone's favor. Like we said last week, someone's gonna go forward and someone's gonna get kicked out. It happens.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, I don't even know why we're going to discuss this next award. We know who it's going to. Defensive Player of the Year. We already talked about him. He plays for San Antonio. He's the tall guy. So I think we can all agree. But oddly
that
enough,
needs to be unanimous.
Yeah,
unanimous.
Bag, do you think Chet or Asar Thompson have any opportunity of, winning this award at all? I don't think so.
Are the Steelers good? No.
No. Chet Holmgren, jerk, or Asar Thompson winning the Defensive Player of the Year from Victor Wembanyama.
Right. It's the same answer. If the Steelers are good, no.
No.
Well, we're gonna get there coming up here soon.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we'll get there. You better watch it.
No,
I might have purple behind me right now for my basketball team, but this is gonna be stripped off the wall as soon as football starts.
For Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, no, Chet and Asar have no chance in this guy green earth that is flat, right?
Dear God.
This race for deploy in the NBA was over 3 months ago. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like when it comes, he's so versatile, bro, and he alters so many shots. He protects the paint. It even gets steals. Like, I mean, who would have thought a 7-foot center is going to average 1.1 steals per game, right? Like you don't really see that. I mean, and like you said, the blocking, 3.5 blocks per game, bro. 3.5.
That's Hakeem shit right there, brother.
Exactly.
That's some Hakeem shit.
Yeah.
I seen a collage of memes that had, like, just think of the best at everything on a basketball court, right? Steph Curry, his first 150 games shooting, he damn near had the same amount of points, 3-pointers. Blocks, the best blocker before, Hakeem, same right there. He's got in the first 150 games. Points with Michael Jordan, you know what I'm saying, in the first 150 games. Bro, when they say this guy is a freak and this guy is an alien, it's nowhere near an exaggeration. That is what he is and fits to a T. And I am very excited for the next 10 to 15 years of the NBA to see him dominate and have his reign.
I can't believe the Spurs yet again. Just get a big guy who comes in and he's just going to be the center of the culture and be a phenom. Like
Graham, just like your Pittsburgh Steelers, the history always repeats itself. Come on.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's not by.
Tell us something we don't know, Graham.
Right. That's not by mistake. Right.
Yeah.
We do know this. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I just want to point out too about Wembanyama, right? Since blocks have been kept, the career leader for blocks per game all time is Mark Eaton. He has 3.5. Right now, Victor Wembanyama averages 3.5 a season. So he's well on his way to be in consideration with those guys. Manute Bol is next. He is 3.34, and then Hakeem with 3.09. So we're talking about Hakeem, which we know is a premier defender. He will always a premier defender. He's past Hakeem in his first 3 years right now for blocks.
Yeah.
for averaging his career. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean he's better than Hakeem. We don't engage in those conversations. We just bring it up for the point that we know Hakeem is a great. This guy is
Mhm.
on that path, possibly. He's right now, he is on the trajectory of being a great. And that to me, when you see numbers like that already, just defensively, on top of the 24 points, 23 he's averaging for a career, sky's the limit. Like you said, we might see a San Antonio Spurs reign for a
And
little
honestly,
while here in the West.
what sold it for me was just the Nuggets game he played, bro. Did anybody even ever look into that box score after that game? Anybody?
I didn't do too much
It
deep
was
dive.
40 plus points. Like what? 17 rebounds? Like 3 to 5. It was like 3 to 5 blocks. Almost 10 assists.
Wow.
Yeah, Wemby
I've
did
never
some things that
seen
game.
a big man put up a 40 ball with almost 20. That's no.
And they still lost in overtime, which is the crazy thing.
He had a 40-point triple-double?
No. So I'm thinking
He
of a
almost
different
did.
game because the game in overtime they just lost recently to the Nuggets on April 4th. Uh, they lost in overtime by 2 points, right? But Wemby's putting up in 40 minutes 34 points, 18 rebounds, 7
Yeah, that's
assists,
the one.
5 blocks, 1
That's the one.
steal, 1 turnover, +4 on plus minus.
Dude is putting up 35, 40 ball games and is putting up almost Wilt Chamberlain numbers.
And here's
15
the
plus
beautiful thing
rebounds.
about him is he makes his free throws as well.
Yes.
He
Efficiently,
makes
too.
his yes, that game against the Nuggets, he was 16 of 17 from the line. And that's another thing they got to watch out for. His free throw attempts are going up
There's no
every year. Every year.
Is that 94%?
Right
93?
now, this year, he is shooting right around 82, 83% for free throws.
No, it's about the 16-17
Diabolical.
game.
Oh, 16, 17 game. Yep.
That's a
Yeah,
diabolical.
it's 93, 92%.
Yeah, he's just so good, and it's exciting to watch him. Now, let's talk about. We didn't get to talk about this with you, Bag, so we got to bring it up now. The Rookie of the Year race.
Okay.
Now, me, obviously, I'm rooting for my man Khan. I think Khan has done a great job over the course of the whole season. And but many feel that 50-point game that Cooper Flag recently put up really is pushing them towards putting him, and given he's drafted #1 overall. So Bag, who do you think's going to win Rookie of the Year?
Hey, man, we on the same team with this one, shorty. I'm trying to tell you. That boy Kneppel should definitely be Rookie of the Year. The reason being for me, him being the third option.
Yeah, unanimous.
Yeah, I'm with
sticking
that.
with the vote too.
Yeah,
We're
I'm with
keeping
that
this one
because
unanimous.
facts. Because him being the third option, averaging almost 20 points a game, right? Shooting efficiently, averaging 3.4 3-pointers a game, right? Is what he's making.
Klay Thompson.
He gets limited shots, right? I think you could double check me. I want to say he's averaging about 11, 12 field goal attempts per game, something like that.
Bro,
Maybe
Klay
13 this
Thompson's
year,
cousin,
surprisingly.
13.
His shot attempts have increased obviously since the
and he's
All-Star break.
fucking efficient at this shit too. I mean, he's
Okay.
practically almost doing a 50-40. Yeah, 50-40-90. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
right now he's 43%
I've never
from
seen a
3.
rookie do that. I've never seen a rookie do that. Never. I don't think I've ever. When was the last time a rookie's done that? Has a rookie ever done that?
I don't think they have. Yeah, I don't think a rookie's ever had.
That's diabolical. I'm sorry, but I've been trying to figure it out. That's diabolical. They need to do that.
But my reason for being that the main reason, like I said, he's a third option. He's averaging 13 shots per game, 3.5 threes per game. He's averaging almost 20 points per game. Then he's not a bad defender. You know what I mean? He's average for his size and his position, But on the other side with Cooper Flag, like what he's done is impressive. I'm not going to deny, right? But it's 20. He's at 21 points per game. It's only 2 points more. And if I'm not mistaken, he's averaging anywhere from 16 to 19 field goals a game. Like, he gets to take all the shots that he wants because he's their franchise guy. He was the number one pick, and they are rocking with you to be their guy and take him to the future. That's not Kneppel's role. Kneppel is in the third option on not a bottom team now. They're on the way up. But they were a bad team the last couple of years. Nobody thinks that the Charlotte Hornets are going to be predominant playoff perennial teams. But guess what? Because they got their guy at a third option who is consistent, efficient, and picked it up quickly as a rookie, sky is the limit. So I got to give it to my man Kneppel off rip.
Yeah, Kneppel, I'm just going to read you some of the basic stats for him right now, just because I think they do need to be noticed. 18.7 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 3.4 assists, zero point 0.2 blocks, oddly enough, on 31 minutes a game. So he's playing 31 meaningful minutes a game, mind you. It's not just trash, garbage time minutes like a lot of these rookies. Like, I'm sorry, VJ Edgecombe, you don't move me, brother. Since the All-Star break, right now, your team, it's because of your team, man. And I hope you get out of that situation, VJ. You and Maxi. I feel bad for you, but
say that again.
Yeah, I like VJ. I just think he's in the wrong team, and that's a conversation we can have after this because he is number 3 on this list, by the way, for Rookie of the Year voting, which rightfully so.
He's very promising.
That was my dark horse Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I can see why. He's putting up great numbers. VJ is doing a good job as well. But Bag, you nailed it, man. Cooper, he's the predominant force on this team. He's getting, majority of the action because let's put this into perspective. Yes, he put that 51 up, right? That was against Orlando. Orlando's in a weird spot right now, though, aren't they? Orlando, it's
are.
not, I don't want to, I'm not trying to talk bad on them because they're still in a playoff spot, but they won 4, but then they came off of losing 6 in a row after winning 4 in a row. So they are a very up and down team. But then Cooper goes and puts 45 on the Lakers with, I believe that was the game without Luka, wasn't it? Afterwards on the 5th, April 5th.
Yes.
And then he puts, here's where I see the differences, like you're talking about. The Clippers, you can see they focused on him, 25 points. And then Phoenix, this one really got me, 11 points. Phoenix really snuffed him out that game.
Now, can you read his shot attempts, field goal attempts for those games that you just read?
Yes. So lower shot attempts in the 32 minutes for the Phoenix game. He had 18 total field goal attempts. So his shooting was not very good that game against Phoenix. And the Clippers, also, he had 25 attempts, not very good shooting that game either for the 25 points that he got. Now, the thing I will say, I do want to give him his props for that Phoenix game because he was better defensively that game, even though, they lost. It doesn't show it, but, he's pulling in 10 rebounds, giving you a block, giving you a steal. He's contributing to the other, to 6 assists to the team as well. He did. It's not like he totally flopped that game. Got to give him his credit for Cooper. But yeah, like 27 attempts for the 45-pointer, efficient shooting that night. 30 attempts for the 51-pointer, efficient shooting that night. Very good shooting. But, you look at his last 6 games, he's had 2 games that have efficient shooting.
Right. And like I said, Kneppel, that's an every night basis. Yeah, it's an every night basis. And so him getting a block a game, that's cool. But the fact that because there's a good stature difference, right? Isn't Cooper Flag like 3 inches taller than Kneppel or something like that?
Yeah, I don't. They list Con Kneppel at 6'6", and they have listed Cooper Flag at 6'9". I know how sometimes we don't get the exact heights, so, but 6'6" and 6'9", yes, Cooper Flag towers over.
Right.
Con
So just
Kneppel.
even if it's not accurate to the T, you know what I mean? Say Kneppel is actually 6'3", right, opposed to 6'6", because we do know they do boost it up a little bit for sure. And
yeah, unless you're Kevin Durant.
You're right. They do it the opposite way, But then you got Cooper Flag standing anywhere between 6'6", 6'7". The fact that Kneppel is averaging, you said what, 2.3, 2.2 blocks?
Yeah, right now Knipple is averaging no, it's point 0.2 blocks a game.
Point two bucks.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
misheard.
And it's not like Cooper's any like much better. It's point 0.9 a game. So those two are kind of it's similar.
Okay, to get that. Okay, so I misheard you. That's all right because I thought you said he was averaging 2.2 and Cooper Flag was averaging one. I'm like, wow, he's got him doubled up on blocks at being such a smaller stature. That's why it kind of baffled me for a second.
Yeah, and Khan's shooting percentages are just nice across the board. His effective field goal percentage is 60%. 2 point is 54, 55 basically. And his 3 point percentage is 42, 43%. And this is on, at higher volume than some of these other rookies.
What's his true shooting percentage?
Let me find out real quick.
When we're done this topic, I want to.
Oh, his true shooting is 64.6%.
Let's go, good nipple.
And see, I think that's the
Wow.
difference right there. Because honestly,
Let's
when you
go.
look at these two players, man, I mean, you got to value the efficiency so much more. Even though he's a third option on that team, but he's doing what he's doing with high efficiency. Plus, on top of that, I think they couldn't do what they could do without him
No, they could
at
not.
all. I don't think the
Nope.
Hornets could be in the position they are right now without him, and I think that's probably going to be the difference.
Yeah, because Bridges was their third guy, right?
Yes.
And Knipple just said, "Nah, that's my spot, big dog. You gotta, And when that fight would happen when they played Detroit and Isaiah Stewart, like I knew right there that he was not getting those minutes back. Like he was already starting to lose some. He was already starting to lose some, right? And then like you said, ever since the All-Star break, bro, Knipple is that certified 100%. That's the third guy. We are not breaking rotation because we are winning games on a higher percentage clip than we ever were this whole entire season.
Yeah, I think that's what might give Khan the boost for the rookie of the year is no one had this Charlotte team in any playoff hunt whatsoever. You can go across the board, any mainstream outlet, any lower outlet, any local outlet. Charlotte was picked to be in the bottom three teams of the Eastern Conference. They were picked to be in the lottery again. And
Like, well, yeah.
because of what's happening, because of Khan.
It's pretty usual in the culture of the NBA, unfortunately. No offense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Charlotte is just that team. That's that team that hasn't had success. We're not familiar with success in Charlotte as a basketball culture. We are not familiar with it. That's why we tend to latch on to the Larry Johnson era so much because that's really when they had a
So
big
proud.
name for themselves.
So
And
inspirational.
big names. Charles Lee has done a good job with this team. He's gotten through to LaMelo Ball. I don't know if anybody's noticed. LaMelo's been a lot better of a team player this year, hasn't he? He's using his outlets more. Brandon Miller has stepped up this year too. I'm really happy with Brandon Miller's career.
They've been passing a lot more too, moving the ball a lot more efficiently too.
Yeah, Brandon Miller doesn't get enough accolades, does he, Bag?
Nope. I just had a conversation earlier on TikTok, and they tried to say that LaMelo Ball was the best player on their team. I said, how do you figure that? Like, is he important? Does he facilitate? Absolutely. He's their point guard. But you're not about to sit here and tell me when it comes to being overall player on the game of basketball that Brandon Miller is not better. He absolutely is. He's a better shooter, more efficient. He's a better, I'm not going to say an overall ball handler, but he doesn't have as many turnovers as Melo, right? He doesn't, he way better defender than LaMelo Ball. For me personally.
I agree with you. I mean, I'll say this about Brandon Miller. He has a 57.4% true shooting percentage this year on top of his numbers of 20 points per game, shooting effectively 53%. So he's getting better now every year. If anybody's noticed or taken notice, especially now that he's shooting with more volume. So I'm excited about Brandon Miller's career, especially he's only 23. Now, another award that I think we should discuss is who do you guys think is in the running for the sixth man here? We have the three candidates of Keldon Johnson from the Spurs, Jaime Jaquez Jr. from Miami, and Tim Hardaway Jr. from Denver, which I do like Timmy, but I think either Keldon or Jaime this year, respectfully. What do you guys think? Tinez, let's start with you, brother.
I'm gonna have to say between Kelvin or honestly Tim. I mean, they've been always to me both really good players fundamentally in their key role, especially Tim Hardaway, who before was always known as just like a 3-point shooting guy, a spot up, but now is more seen as a veteran all around player, which is very impressive for a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr., honestly, in my eyes. Especially from what he was before to now.
Yeah, I
It gives
agree.
hope. I think it shows hope. It shows hope.
Bag, how about you? Who do you think out of those three names, Keldon Johnson, Jaime Jaquez, and Tim Hardaway Jr., is probably going to win the Sixth Man of the Year award?
I'm gonna go Jaime Hodges. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? Okay.
I mean, I know that the Miami Heat aren't certified like 100 lock for the playoff, right? Because they're falling down the last couple of weeks. Now they're in the play-in. But I think if you take these three guys and you say, okay, respectively, they're all three balling at the six-man position coming off the bench. Now, which one, with their production that they are doing, fares more for their team, right? And I think I would have to go Jaime because, yes, the team isn't at the tip top like the other two teams, you know what I mean, like the Nuggets and the Spurs, but that's because they have two freak of natures and MVP candidates on their team. So it makes the six man there a lot easier, right? Nobody is worried about Bam Adebayo, even with his 83 points, respectively, right? He doesn't have the skill set to demand that kind of attention when it comes to a scouting report. And I've always said that. So I'd have to give Jaime six man for real.
Yeah, Bam is a conversation we can definitely have for another day because I don't think a lot of people would agree with your and my opinion on Bam Adebayo. Um, I'm not very fond of Bam as a center, so that's all I'm going to leave it at that. As a scorer, I'm okay, but
Oh, I would. Oh, yeah, let's another day. But
yeah,
I'm with
I
you.
just yeah.
Save it
Most
for the
improved.
TikToks. Save it for the TikTok live.
Right. Most improved player of the year. Three nominees that we're looking at is Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who I am already going to say I think he's going to win it. Jalen Duren, and then no, I'm not going to say his name, the first name right, but it's Keita from Boston. Neemias, right? Am I saying that
Oh
correctly?
yeah,
His first name,
Neemias.
Neemias? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know how exactly that,
Sorry,
but that's
Keita.
how
I
I say
like
it.
you as a player. I'm sorry I'm not saying your first name correctly. But Keita, I think actually is a dark horse in this as well. We'll start with you this time, Bag. Who do you think might win most improved player?
I'm right there with you with Alexander for Atlanta. I think him and Jalen Johnson are the factors on that team. But without them two, the Atlanta Hawks do not do what they do this year. You know, I think if he's averaging what 21 points a game, 2.5 3-pointers per game, he's really stepped up from one year to the next. I gotta give it to him.
And what about you, Tinez? Do you think it's Nickeil, or do you think maybe Jalen or Keita is gonna grab this award?
I honestly think it should go to Jalen Duren. I genuinely do. Even though I know I don't really like Detroit, considering their reputation as a franchise. But at the same time, though, I'm not gonna lie. Without Jalen Duren, I don't think we would be talking about Detroit in their defense, to be completely honest, besides Thompson. I mean, him and Thompson. But honestly, if I have to give it more props, it's going to have to be Jalen Duren. I mean, to me, he's just very dominant for how he is in the big man position, especially the fact of just how big man sized he is and how he's able to utilize his weight very well off the glass.
Yeah, and I
He
think
kind
what's
of
going to
reminds
swing.
me. He kind of reminds me of like a baby Ben Wallace. A baby. That's why I said a very baby Ben defensively. Small nature version.
Am I mistaken? I thought he became the starter about like a about a month
Last
and a half
year.
ago.
I think athletically he
Okay.
has the potential.
I
To
would
be
even
that
say
tall.
he became the starter last year, to be perfectly
Last year?
honest. Yeah, because like Isaiah Stewart wasn't playing over him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Isaiah
is true.
Stewart's been coming off the bench for the last 2 years, and so Jalen Duren took over.
That
That's
is
why I
true.
said.
He's
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not like Paul Reed's coming off the bench that much for Jalen. So to be, to
I
put it
agree.
bluntly,
There's the
Jalen
same.
is the main factor at center for the last 2 years. The minutes show it too. Actually, 3 years if we want to get technical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's what's up.
My only reason that Jalen might win is the points improvement, right? Like, and I know that is kind of heavy. That takes heavy accountability for some of these awards, right? Because last year in more games played, he's scoring 11.8. This year in less games played, he's averaging 19.5. But the shooting, for the most part, across the board is slightly less, except his free throws, right? So in less sample size this year, he's actually shooting less, but on more attempts. That's the caveat. Now,
Right.
for guys like us, it's not really that bad, though. Obviously, his 3 point percentage isn't anything because he doesn't shoot threes, but he's shooting 65% from two. So roughly, he's shooting 65%, and he's making 75% of his free throws.
That's a
So,
good number. That's a good number for
yeah,
a big
for
man.
for a guy, for a center,
Mhm.
especially on Detroit Pistons, that's what they need.
I'm cool with the 65. You know what I mean? Like, but I understand when it comes to interior, that's about the average for bigs. You know what I mean? Every 10 shots, you should be making 6 of them because how close you are. Right? I mean, if you told me it was 72, whew, yeah, let's get it. That's out the world for a 5. You know what I mean? But we do got to take into the context that within today's game, a lot of guys are, being pulled away from the basket just ideology wise. So I don't want to I have to kind of change that criteria when it comes to the 5 position in more modern time now. So 65 is pretty fun. It's pretty damn good.
So I want to bring up Kada real brief because I do want to give him his flowers because quietly he has been in the league 5 years. Unless you're an NBA fan or a Boston fan, or Sacramento, probably didn't know much about Kada. Um, Last 2 years, especially, Boston has been using him a lot more. Now, I am not a Boston fan. I will never be a Boston fan. I don't like the Celtics. But I do want to give him props because he has managed to fit into this Joe Mazzulla system where they need him to be a big man after what? They decided to go get Vucevic and they let Kristaps go. So congrats to Kada for stepping in and filling that role. 10.3 points a game. He's only getting 25 minutes on the court, but he's shooting 70% from free throw. He's only getting about 2 free throws a game. So they're not giving him the ball a whole heck of a lot down below. But when he is getting the ball, he's doing a good job with it. But his defense has improved. I think you'll agree with me on that, Bag. His defense has improved a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and like you said, 25 minutes and you're averaging what I think 8.5 rebounds per game. It's pretty good. Like you said, solid defense. Not a lot of free throws, but the numbers are the number, 70-something%. I think if they could utilize him more in the pick and roll, right, and hit him dive into the basket just 2 or 3 times a game as well, that'll open his confidence up a lot more because you're giving him more touches. It's not just get it off the glass, big guy, and get a putback, right? When you treat your big guys like that, they don't have a lot of enthusiasm to do everything else that you need them to do as a big. me, I love feeding my bigs when I play basketball, right? That was because that's my guy. I'm bringing you up, set this pick. You know what I mean? We gonna get this motion. Got my cutter. If the cutter's there, I'm hitting that first. If not, after you dive to the basket, I'm looking for my big. So I'm gonna feed you, big dog. Get it up.
Now, Tinez, I know you had some comments about Jason Tatum last time we were talking. So I want to see how you're feeling about Jason Tatum now, since he's had more time on the court and he's had more, playing. He's had more time to acclimate with his teammates this year after being injured. What are you seeing now after having a week of separation?
I mean, I can't say he's consistent. I can say he's doing better. That's for sure. I can't say it's consistent, but I could definitely say he's doing better. I could definitely see that they're right now starting to become much more cohesive with everything, especially with the scheme that's going on right now for Boston. I'm just more worried about how things are going to look for him during the playoffs, especially with how the impact and how the game is going to be played is going to be much more favored in him getting targeted because he's a star player and because he's in a vulnerable position.
Well, speaking to that, the last game, the Knicks, they lost that game against the Knicks. Tatum did not look very good. He looked like you could tell the Knicks were focusing in on him, making him pay. He still managed to get 24 points and 13 rebounds. I think that's where I'm happy with Tatum is I'm noticing that he's not afraid to go get rebounds and he's
Right.
he's getting in there. Like I have to give him credit for that. Maybe the scoring isn't as
No, and I
consistent
agree.
right now.
Right,
Yeah,
I
but
agree. It's just about buying in. Like he's genuinely trying to buy in and actually get involved in there. I definitely agree. I think where it's gonna like we and you are saying, I think it's gonna go more into okay, what's gonna happen when it's going to the stakes and the wires of things down in the postseason. I
well,
think that's
Bag,
where people are more looking into.
yeah, and Bag, he still looks pretty good so far coming in the league, but you can tell, like Tinez and I were talking last week. Tinez was pointing out so far just in his return, obviously from Achilles. Just he's finding his groove with Boston. He's trying to get back into the groove of things, but I think more importantly, I think Jalen's trying to get back in the groove of things with him being there.
Exactly. Because remember, a couple of weeks ago, when we were here, we did talk about that, and I brought that up. I said that this is why, this is what I was afraid of, and I agree with you guys. He is looking better now, as a few weeks as it went by, and I right there with you. I'm glad that he's getting in the nitty gritty in the paint. He's not shying away from it, from the physicality, and playing scared coming back from the Achilles. But here's my issue. Two things. You just brought them up. If I'm not mistaken, that New York Knicks game, Jaylen Brown was out, right?
Yes, they sat him so that they could give Tatum some leash.
Exactly. So you are, and I understand this late in the season, we're not really fighting for seed anymore. You know what I mean? Everything's pretty much, the top four are pretty much set in stone. You
Locked
know what I
in.
mean? Right. But the thing is that you are forcing a guy who's coming off of severe surgery and injury within a less than a calendar year. Yes, he's looking better, but now this is the issue that I have. What if by you doing that, he won't really, this is wherever he gets to coming back from the surgery physically is where he stays, right? Because we know the body does break down, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have a lot of tread on their tires because they have made deep playoff runs since the get-go, from hello, the year that they walked in pretty much. I'm not a fan of making these kind of risky decisions right before the playoffs. You just had Jaylen Brown balling, and because you inserted Jason Tatum, that's kind of the biggest reason why Jaylen Brown fell out of the MVP race, right? If I'm going to make a decision like that, I have to know 100% as soon as I enter Jason Tatum into the rotation, we're going to be able to pick things back up right where we left off when he was here. Like that, I know he's 100% healthy. I don't have to slowly work him in because the momentum and the gel of the team was better throughout the year with just Jaylen Brown and everybody else, right? Sam Hauser was balling. Derek White was getting 16 points per game, 4 or 5 assists per
Richard.
game. Pritchard was averaging, a good 13
Hell,
points
even
game.
Anthony Simons after the trade.
Yeah, and it's now if that say you get into the second round, right? And because Jason Tatum's not a fully 100%, he has 2 off games in the first 3 games, right? And you're down 2-1, 3-0. Now you just put yourself behind the 8 ball voluntarily instead of just riding it out. Even though I understand he's a cornerstone, he's your franchise guy, but that's even more reason for you to play it safe, right? And make sure that you have him as your long-term investment that you paid him like. It's risky. I'm glad to see that he's getting better. I was not a fan when they said they were going to bring him back. Far from it.
I agree. Well, folks, that is all the time we got today, and we appreciate you guys clocking in with us. Tinez, anything you want to leave us with before we get out for the week?
It is time. It's finally time. The gates are opening. Playoffs are starting, boys. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I cannot wait to watch another James Harden team get bounced from the playoffs. It is just a fun time for all of us. We
Look.
love seeing
I'm
the
not
high
expecting next
expectations of
East.
James. I can't wait.
Don't you face the Knicks? Don't you guys possibly face the Knicks in the first round?
Yeah, we're gonna no. If the Hornets make it, they're gonna face the Pistons in the first round.
That's even worse.
If the yeah, I actually like the Pistons matchup better than a matchup against the Celtics or the Knicks.
Wow. Okay.
I do. I think both two young teams. That's why.
There's a different
Pistons are a
conversation.
young team. They don't have anybody who has proven themselves in the playoffs yet. Neither do the Hornets. So could see two young teams battle it out. I don't think the Pistons would lose, mind you. I'm just trying to have some
No,
positivity around.
I get what you mean.
How about you, Bag? Anything you want to leave us with?
I'm right there with you. I think, if you did play the Pistons, I gave you guys a good little shot just because of how Kay Cunningham's unfortunate injury kind of slowed them up. Well, not really slowed them up as a team, but now he's got to do the same thing we were just talking about with Jason Tatum, right? Like he did the other night. He's got to slowly work himself in. He can't overexert, rush it back. So I think that's a positive for Charlotte. And, like I said, Knipple is my Rookie of the Year favorite. So I'm rocking with him. If they can get in there, win a playoff series or two, get some playoff experience under their belt, being together for the young core that they have, man. We just seen that happen with OKC a couple years ago, right? They went from being 8th seed, getting bounced out in the first round. The following season, they were the number 1 seed. Like that's a good jump. So I'm kind of excited to see what they can do with this playoff experience going into next year.
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like the Hornets now, they see their core. They got it with our boy Brandon Miller. They finally saw that revelation come through in the second year. And yeah, it's only upwards here. But one thing I do want to say, guys, is pay attention to what's going on with Not Moved. You're going to see a lot more of Tinez, Bags, Coach, and myself doing football coming up here soon because we are covering the AFC North as always. Got the 2 Baltimore fans next to me here, and of course, me and Coach representing the Steelers. We don't like any of those other orange teams, so don't worry about them because we never do. But we will be covering football for the AFC North with the 3 gentlemen right here, and of course, Coach Common. Please make sure to check out all of our shows. We got In the Wickets, which I do with my boy A Train, and Southgate on Thursdays at 8 p.m. We got a nice rotating cast. Bro was just on, and Bro's got some great stuff coming out with the debates, as we are the original debate podcast here. So we also have our friends at No Ma'am who are getting back in the groove of things where Bro comes from. And we have also JB's going to be starting football up. Pay attention to his lives on TikTok. He's got some interesting talking points, comparisons, football, basketball, NHL. Bag is also on there. Bag's going to be joining us a lot more here on the Dribble as well with his vast NBA knowledge. Is there anything else, guys, before we hop on out of here and wish you well for the next week?
No, sir. All is good.
Yeah, appreciate y'all sliding through for the Not Move Podcast Dribble. So when you see us on TikTok and you see that pink ring around that icon, tap on in, slide in. Make sure you tap the screen, share it live. Let's get it popping. It's Not Moved.
Not Moved, guys. We'll see you next week.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Moved Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.